Welcome to the Fearless Floyd Show. We'll begin in 2 minutes.
FCC Chair Brendan Carr joins us now to discuss all of this. So thank you so much for joining us. What can this executive order do to stop this lunacy in creeping into AI?
Yeah, President Trump's AI action plan is a real significant win for the country. President Trump has said that he wants the U.S. to have the gold standard AI technology. And key to that, as you indicate, is making sure there is not any ideological bias in there. And we see how that can play out. Just look to China. China's version of AI is deeply embedded with the CCP's ideology. So, for instance, if you were to ask their AI what happened in Tiananmen Square, they would say nothing, it was a fine day. If you ask them how the Uyghurs are doing, they said they're doing really well. They're getting a great education in a camp-like setting. And so we not only want to lead the world, but we want to make sure that this technology reflects reality and doesn't get indoctrinated with either this CCP version of ideology or here in the U.S. woke. And so that's what they are putting forward. And it's a really good step forward for America, because at the end of the day, artificial intelligence, AI, is the new technology front. And it's a race between U.S. and China. And President Trump is setting us up to win.
Brendan, this is great. I'm glad that the government and this administration is taking this on. But shouldn't we first start with Wikipedia? Because I think Wikipedia is feeding a lot of this stuff into the AI model or whatever. And Wikipedia, I mean, you can't trust anything on there. And yet young people take all the leftist stuff they get in Wikipedia as, you know, the truth.
Yeah, look, it's unbelievable. There's a lot of work we have to do to sort of restore, fact-based reporting, whether it's Wikipedia or in our space at the FCC. in traditional broadcast media. And we're starting to see some changes there. I mean, again, if you step back, President Trump ran for election based on this idea that whether it's broadcast media or otherwise, they no longer get to dictate the narrative in this country. And for too long, politicians sat back, and whether it was content on Wikipedia or content on NBC, they sort of worked within the confines of the political narrative set by them. And President Trump said, no, we're going to take it directly to the people. And we're starting to see significant changes. There's more to do, but I'm pleased with the trajectory that President Trump has us.
So really quick, the brilliance of this executive order by President Trump is it goes to the underlying supply of what is going into these large language models, the LLMs. How do we make sure that these tech companies actually follow the underlying premise of this? Because they're lying to us a lot about the power of AI. They're deceiving us about how far AI is advanced. How do we make sure there is teeth behind this executive order so that the OpenAIs and Microsoft and Gemini are not secretly building a woke superweapon through artificial intelligence?
Yeah, exactly right. And that's why we are going to be taking a trust but verify approach here. And so as these entities contract with the federal government, there's going to be mechanisms in place to make sure they're living up to their terms of the bargain. And for the rest of the world, kind of it's a time for choosing, particularly Europe. Are they going to sort of follow the U.S. and our approach and our leadership in AI? They're welcome to join us. Or are they going to go down that different approach with China? But we have to have mechanisms built in as we do to make sure that technology companies are living up to their end of the bargain here.
How does it work? I mean, how do you actually, this is a massive amounts of information. How are you making sure that what Charlie's saying, you're not feeding it with false or woke information?
Yeah, there's a lot of steps we can do that are sort of put out there in the AI action plan as they're going through contracting with the government to do this. But there's other stuff across the board that we need to do as well. For instance, the FCC has Section 230 authority where, we're only supposed to have these special immunities and protections for social media companies that engage in good faith content moderation. And so there's work to do across all of these fronts to hold these entities accountable. Look, I'm glad that Facebook and others have recently come around and said they're going to embrace, free speech, diversity of opinion. But that's not necessarily enough. We got to really keep an eye on this.
Yeah, I don't trust any of them when they say things like that. But thank you so much for being on this, and thank you for joining us.
Thanks.
Hi, everyone. I'm Brian Kilmeade. I want you to do me a favor. I want you to click
long-awaited artificial intelligence action plan he called for at the beginning of his term, titled Winning the AI Race, a race the president has made clear the U.S. can't lose.
China and other countries are racing to catch up to America, having to do with AI, and we're not going to let them do it. We have the great chips, we have the great everything, and we're going to be fighting them in a very friendly fashion. I have a great relationship with President Xi, and we smile at the back and forth, but we are leading.
Simeon Bochev is a former AI executive at Apple who will be attending the AI summit the president will be speaking at today, and he joins us now. Simeon, thanks so much for joining the program.
Good morning. It's a great day. Thanks for having me on.
It is a great day. So, obviously there's going to be a lot of investment in the country because of AI. That's going to be great for the country. And we've got a full screen. Actually, you can see all the different states that is going to be doing this investment. But from a practical point of view, how does this help average day Americans?
Great question. And, I'll start by saying it really is a great day because for the first time ever, we're expecting a comprehensive American AI strategy to help define what is going to be the defining technology for our generation and probably for this century. And the reason that, the average American should care is because this is not just a victory moment for those of us like myself in the tech sector who believe there's AI innovation, but it's also because the principles that we're expecting to hear President Trump describe in his AI action plan benefit the average American. And those three principles that I'm hoping to hear today are, first, a lot of Americans have heard about the impending job disruptions that AI is going to create. There are going to be disruptions. But what I expect to hear today is that there's also going to be massive investment in upskilling blue-collar workers in manufacturing, which we need incredibly more of, right? Plumbers, electricians, and other manufacturers who help build these massive AI data centers, which is, by the way, the second pillar I'm expecting to hear about today, is a real investment in an American-first approach. I think the third reason that the average American should care is because America first doesn't mean that we're closing in on ourselves. In fact, it means quite the opposite. We're going to go out and counter China, and as President Trump shared in the clip that you just showed, we lead, American companies lead in technology dominance across the stack, from chips all the way to the leading AI models. And to me, that's a victory for all of us.
So, Simeon, and I only got a few seconds with you left, but how do you reassure Americans? You know, we're all excited about new technology that's going to make things more efficient, but no one likes to be replaced. So how do you calm those concerns?
I think those are very fair concerns. And when we think about, again, what a lot of the mainstream media is pushing as a narrative, it is AI is coming for our jobs, right? And what I talked to a group of high school students about just last week was around, you need to be AI first in what you do. And in my own company, the Compute Exchange, we've put in a process where everyone, whether you're a technical employee or not, needs to be AI first in their job. And the way I look at it is, AI is going to make the most successful people even more successful. And so be one of those successful people and upskill yourself and lean into the technology. Don't be afraid of it.
Yeah, I mean, AI, just on a practical level, can help you with so many cool things. I don't think it will ever eliminate a human in the sense of we still need humans to operate this technology, but it does simplify a lot of things in life. Simeon, thanks so much for joining the program, but good luck today.
Thanks for having me.
The AI race, signing several executive orders to boost innovation and promote U.S. technology abroad.
America is the country that started the AI race. And as President of the United States, I'm here today to declare that America is going to win it. We're going to work hard. We're going to win it. So from this day forward, it'll be a policy of the United States to do whatever it takes to lead the world in artificial intelligence. The United States to do whatever it takes to lead the world in artificial intelligence. It'll be a policy of the United States to do whatever it takes to lead the world in artificial intelligence. It'll be a policy of the United States to do whatever it takes to lead the world in artificial intelligence.
Joining me now is Heritage Foundation Research Fellow E.J. Antoni. E.J., is Trump right? Is this plan enough to beat China and, quite frankly, the rest of the world in the AI race?
Well, Todd, it's certainly going to be a key part of that. You know, we can't have things like ESG or DEI or any of that other garbage, quite frankly, weighing us down when it comes to such a hotly contested race, when it comes to such an incredibly competitive industry as AI. And so it was very, very positive to see all of the president's actions in this regard yesterday, because it is going to make us more competitive. It is going to help clear all of these liberal talking points and all of this left-wing agenda out of the way so that the industry can compete. It even helps actually undo some of the harm from things like the Inflation Reduction Act, which put in place these ridiculous so-called green energy requirements that don't actually do anything for the environment, but do weigh the industry down. And so, again, it was a very, very positive step that the president took yesterday, not just for the industry, but I would think for the economy more broadly.
Let's drill down now into the specifics. Here's a breakdown of the administration's AI action plan. Accelerate AI innovation, build American AI infrastructure, lead in international AI diplomacy and security, got to have both, export American AI, promote rapid build out of data centers, and ease American AI regulations. Okay, but for the person watching at home that just heard me read that, for whom AI is still a pretty abstract concept, I'm looking at my parents, heck, I'm looking at myself for this. Do we have a better sense of how AI is going to change our day-to-day lives following yesterday's press conference and general presentation from the president?
We have some sense, Todd, but a lot of it is, essentially kind of being made up on the fly because we're figuring out day by day everything that these new technologies can do and everything that they can help us with. I liken it, Todd, to something like electric or pneumatic hand tools. When those things first were invented, people weren't even sure of all of their different applications. People weren't sure, in other words, of all of the different ways in which they could help human effort and make people on assembly lines more efficient. And as time went on, we found newer uses and more advanced uses for things like power tools. And so even if you don't necessarily see all of the impact immediately, or you don't necessarily see all of the ways in which this technology can be implemented, I would encourage people to withhold judgment. Literally, as days go on, Todd, day by day, we are finding new and more powerful uses for these technologies. And so I am incredibly hopeful at the efficiency gains and the productivity gains that we're going to see from AI. And that includes, by the way, higher wages for Americans.
And it's happening also quickly. Quickly, before we let you go, though, all eyes on a potential EU trade deal ahead of Donald Trump's August 1 deadline. We have seen something interesting in the last couple months. In March, we were 11 points below where we are now in terms of people that think the economy is excellent or good if this EU trade deal gets signed, sealed, and delivered. How much do you expect those numbers to skyrocket with people saying, hey, we're really doing well right now?
Thank you for hanging around after the show. I want to present to you Tailor-Made Trust, featuring Ann LaFleur's Trust Series, available at tailormadetrust.com, as well as thefearlessfloydshow.com store. Here are a handful of the available trusts that can be built, custom tailored to your needs and desires. 25 different trusts, plus the DNA Trust Addendum. And as always, Ann LaFleur's classic trusts and ancillary classes, and also Ann's books on trust and specialty trust, which I also co-authored. If you'd like to get a class, a book, or have a trust custom built for you, always available at thefearlessfloydshow.com store. And I'll see you in the next show. Thank you for watching and have an awesome day.